sections 2.6 and 2.7. First, in section 2.6, other types of equations, you will learn how to solve equations involving rational exponents. You're going to learn how to solve polynomials by factoring the greatest common factor and regrouping. You're going to learn how to solve absolute value equations. Here is a warm-up activity, which is you're going to do the same with the prerequisites. So if you did your prerequisites, you probably are familiar with the warm-up activity. So I mentioned in the previous video in section 2.5, what is the difference between x equals square root of 9 and x squared equals 9? And the difference is very obvious. The first one has a solution of x equals 3 only, because it is basically the square root of 9. And we just want to find the square root of 9, not relative to the x. X squared equals 9. This is an equation that we need to solve. This is a quadratic equation that you will need to solve, which requires you to take square root for both sides of the equation. And because this side is squared, this side could be positive or negative, the square root of 9. If this side was not square like this case here, there is only one answer. However, because this is squared here, we might have two possibilities, x equals 3 or x equals negative 3. So the first type of equations is equations that involve rational exponents. Rational exponents are exponents that are fractions, where the numerator is a power and the denominator is a root. So from unit 0, let me remind you, let's say we have a raised to the n over m. We said this is the same as the mth root of a to the n power. So the numerator is a power of the radicand, and the denominator is basically the index of the root. So that is what this means right here. Let's look at the first example here. It's done for us. So we want to evaluate 8 to the 2 over 3. Whether we take the root first or the power first depends on the number. Sometimes it's easier to take the root first and then we raise the number to the power. Like in this case, for example, we know what is the cube root of 8. So in this case, 8 to the 2 over 3, we could split it into 8 to the third using the power rule. The power of the power multiplies. And we raise everything to the second power. This requires us to do 8 to the third first, or allows us to do 8 to the third first, which is basically the cube root of 8. So 8 to the third is basically the cube root of 8, which we know is 2. And now, if we simplify that, we replace 8 to the third with its value, which is 2. We get 2 to the second power, which is equal to 4. Now let's try the next one. So in this case, I will take the root first, and then I will take cube it. So 16 to the 3 over 4 is the same as 16 to the 4th power raised to the 3rd power. Now 16 to the quarter means the 4th root of 16. So what number do you multiply by itself 4 times in order to get 16? Now, if you don't have a calculator, or you don't want to have a calculator, you basically can say, well, 16 is basically 4 times 4, which is basically 2 times 2, 2 times 2. So you see here, 2, if you multiply it 4 times, or the number that is repeated 4 times is 2, which means the 4th root of 16 is basically 2. So 2 to the 3rd power, we know 2 cubed is 8. So the final answer will be 8 for that question. Solving the equation including a variable raised to a rational exponent. So in this case right here, we have x plus 2 raised to the 5 over 4 equals 32. Now, we want to get rid of that fraction in the exponent. So we're going to start raising both sides of the equation to the reciprocal, because any fraction times its reciprocal is equal to 1. So we're going to raise both sides. We're going to raise both sides to 4 over 5, and then we're going to solve both sides of the equation. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to raise this side to 4 over 5, and this side to 4 over 5. Now, these are going to cancel together. So we'll end up with x plus 2 in the left-hand side equals to 32 to the 4/5. It is 32 to 1/5, all raised to the 4th power. X plus 2 equals 2. Again, we're going to do the same thing with the 32. If you don't have the calculator, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to say 32 is basically, I could say it is 4 times 8, for example, and then break that down to 2 and 2. I know 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So as you can see here, the 2 is repeated 5 times, which means it's the 5th root of, it is the 5th root of 32. So it is 2. So in other words, let me put it as a note here. Since 32 to the 5th equals 2, and that is the work that we've done for it, to the 4th power. So now, x plus 2 equals 2 to the 4th power means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is basically 16. And now this is a linear equation. I will leave you to answer that equation on your own. The answer, the final answer, I'm not going to do the next step. I'll do the final answers, is 14. So x is equal to 14. Let me minimize this work a little bit. Then move it. The other one, part B, we have 1/3 times x minus 1 raised to the 4 over 3 equals 27. So the first step we're going to do, I would like to get rid of 1/3. It's going to bother me if I take a power for both sides. It's going to cause trouble. So I'm going to get rid of that 3 first, and then I will get rid of the exponent that is irrational. So in order to get rid of 3, I will multiply both sides by 3. This way, this 3 and that 3 is going to cancel. We're going to have x minus 1 all to the 4 over 3 equals 27 times 3. I'm not going to bother to find the answer there. We're going to raise both sides to the reciprocal of 4 over 3, which is basically flipping it upside down and raising this to 3 over 4 as well. These are going to cancel together. We're going to have x minus 1 equals 27 times 3, all raised to the 3 over 4. Now, we're going to split it. So we're going to say x minus 1 equals 27 is basically 3 times 3 times 3, which is 9 times 3, and then times this 3, the last one. This last one right here is that one. Okay? And now we're going to raise that to the 1/4, and everything is going to be raised to the 3rd power. So I have 4 3's here. The 4th root means one of them. So we're going to say this is equal to x minus 1 equals to 1 3 raised to the 3rd power, which is 9. X minus 1 equals 9. And the final answer, x equals 10. And that would be the answer for that question.